Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of the Monsters Den here on Thursday night, along with Chris Alo and Rich Catino in his House of Horrors up there. Rich, you want to take us through your little torture garden of boogeymen, considering this whole episode is all about our favorite boogeymen of horror.
Right. So this is a diorama that I made when there once was a time when we used to have chiller theater. So you guys remember that in the model contests. So this was one of the models that I submitted one year. So I used the McFarlane movie Maniacs. And then I just built the whole diorama that goes around it.
Looks awesome, Rich.
Little dug grave there with a shovel. Got the creature from The Thing.
Oh,
nice.
Creeping around the back.
This is great.
The snake there. That's the back of the house. Lights in the window.
Oh, Leatherface, nice.
Leatherface, lights on in the back door. Garbage can. Ash is creeping around the back.
Nice.
Got Candyman in the foreground.
Of course.
Coming around the side.
Very cool.
Thanks. Then we got Pumpkinhead coming through the front door. And I'll open up the top and you guys can see the inside too.
Oh, wow.
So that's the right-hand side you're looking at right now.
Okay.
And then the top opens up like a giant dollhouse. And there's more on the inside. So you guys can see this okay?
Yeah.
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 How's my camera work?
Good.
Not too bad.
All right. Trying to keep steady as much as I can. And this is the inside.
Wow.
Wow,
So you got
impressive, Rich.
Jason's mother's head on the table
Nice.
with the pumpkin. Pumpkin head. You know, all the broken up trash and everything in the house. It's got a TV there with a skull on it. Can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Then you got the other version of the Thing in the corner. By the
Oh,
bookcase.
right.
And got the bloodied up bathroom there.
Wow.
How long did it take you to make this?
I don't remember. This is God. I don't know how many years ago I made this thing. Probably 15 years ago.
Well, Rich, I was just going to say, like, judging by the McFarlane figures, has got to be like at least 15 years old, because that was early 2000s when he was putting those out, and they were great figures, and he did it for a couple of years and then stopped.
Right. Yeah.
Looks awesome though.
Thanks.
Really nice.
Thanks. It's nice to have in the house, you know, when people come over and check it out.
I would love to have one of those in here.
For sure. I don't know where I'd put it.
I don't know either. That's the thing, right? You know, Rich, the only thing you're missing on that is like someone creeping around on the roof of the house.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say dry ice, you know, the fog machine, just, I don't know how, but cut a hole underneath the table and put some, that's what I would have done.
Maybe I'll add that to it.
Yeah. You know, one of those Halloween sales. They have all the, you know, they sell the fog juice and the.
Yeah.
But yeah, great job, Rich.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You had my vote.
That's my intro, guys.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, that totally sets the stage for everything we're talking about today.
Right.
So what we're going to be talking about here, obviously, is somehow ranking our favorite 10 boogeymen, killers, slashers, whatever you want to call these guys who either kill lots of people in these films or convince others to kill for them, so to speak. So I've asked everybody to kind of go through all their favorite films and pick out the 10 that we like the most. Could be from a film series, appeared only once, whatever, it doesn't matter. So Rich, since you put together that and showed us that wonderful diorama, you can start us off today with your number 10.
Okay. And it's funny that you're wearing the shirt, and that's what I was going to wear, and it's my number 10, but I don't think anybody put that character out, the driller killer, right?
Yes, they did recently, didn't they? Or was that the second one? NECA did a limited edition figure.
The guitar driller killer.
Shit, well, was it from the first movie or was it the guitar guy? You could be right.
Okay.
Russ Thorne, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it'd be great because I'd like to add him to the diorama.
Right.
You know, where's the driller killer guy in here? The second one. So I picked the first one, the original guy. But here's the guy you're talking about, the second one with the guitar.
Yeah, I forget which one had the figure. Maybe it was the guitar guy.
Okay.
I mean,
either way, I
don't have it either way. I don't.
Yeah, I'd love to add him to that set. So yeah, the driller killer comes in at my number 10.
Yeah,
you gotta draw the line somewhere, Pete. I'm buying this crap.
That is true.
Well, if anybody knows where it is, put the link in the the video so I could.
Well, that is a classic movie. That's a favorite for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a unique weapon too. That's why I chose him. Even though he's a very plain, kind of average looking guy, and the denim pants and the jacket and everything, nothing really special design wise, but the tool that he uses, makes him interesting.
Yeah.
And he barely says a word, and he just kind of shows up, and he's always sweating, and it's like,
Yeah, he's really creepy. He's like, "I love you," and that's all he says. Like, "I love you." Like, what is that?
And you guys know, if they made if they did a remake of Slumber Party Massacre, half the fucking movie would be all about him and his tortured childhood, and what was wrong with him, and all this horse shit.
It's better.
Whereas it works great. We don't know anything. He's just going around killing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the charm of the whole film, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. All right, Chris.
All right. My number 10. I do have to upgrade this movie. Zack Head from The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Oh,
to me, that's a real boogeyman kind of things. Based. This could be the only one I have that's based on a true story. But yeah, terrorized a whole town for a while. And I think it was a good creepy design. Again, we don't know who he is. He's just going around killing people.
Yeah.
Who had the better design, him or Jason in part 2? What do you think?
Well, this was first, so I guess I'll go with this one. But having only the one eye, that was kind of cool for Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Both pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say in that film, he had one of the most original kills I've ever seen, using the trombone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you haven't seen it, I won't give any more away, but that is pretty original, I'll say.
That's what makes a lot of these movies, the creativity, right? And how you're doing something different for a kill than another movie hasn't done.
Yeah.
100%.
So my number 10 is an example of a really cool boogeyman, or, just real bad guy who doesn't necessarily do the killings himself, but he's the guy behind all this shit. I think he's just a great character. The tall man from Phantasm.
Nice.
Played by Angus Scrimm. There he is right there. I think he's just pretty cool. He's kind of creepy looking, and he sounds creepy. And I think I just singed a little bit of my hair on my arm when I went over the
careful
over the candle there. I need to watch when I do that. Like all of a sudden, I'm like, "Oh, it kind of smells here. What happened?" That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my honorable mentions was Tall Man. I couldn't find the first one on Blu-ray, but I found my second one.
Yeah, I bought this steel box not too long ago. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
So that is my number 10. So back to Rich.
Well, he's my number 9.
There we go.
Yeah.
We're all on the same page.
Not the most scary looking guy, but just what he does and what he says, and the ball itself that drills into your head and all the blood flies out, from the other end of it. It's cool.
And to be honest, when the first one, he was a lot younger, so he was a little scarier then. By the time they got to whatever it was, Phantasm 5 or 6, it was like, oh wow, he's an old man. He's really not scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's a boogeyman, he's the guy that you fear. That's what a boogeyman is,
He's got that menacing walk too.
Oh, for sure.
So tall and thin, and he's got the longish gray hair. And it's like,
and nothing phases him. He just goes about his business.
Yep, exactly. All right, Chris, what do you got?
I'm going with Gunther, also known as I call him Goat Face from Toby Hooper's The Funhouse.
Oh yeah.
You know, the first third of the movie, I guess, he's got the classic Universal Monsters Frankenstein mask on, and then when that comes off, it's like, holy shit, this guy's creepy. But the whole movie's just so creepy. The girls that get terrorized in the movie are really cute. It's just a really sleazy, but fun movie.
Yeah, he is one of my honorable mentions. He's awesome.
Nice.
Such a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
And it takes place in a dark ride, which is even better.
Yes.
I like
All right,
that.
my number 9 from Tourist Trap, Mr. Slauson.
Oh, nice.
Chuck Connor. I mean, he's just so demented. And, you know, it's like he's got the split personality. So half the movie he's wearing, you know, the doll mask, and he changes his voice. And he's just like, it's just so creepy. I love it. He's always a great actor, Chuck Connors, but this is like the best role he ever did, I think, in anything. And just him like terrorizing these young kids, and you know, then trying to make them think that he's actually on their side, and he's like, you know, the kind older gentleman who owns the property, whatever, and there's a killer on the loose, and of course it's him, because he's got like all these multiple personalities and whatnot. Just totally demented. I love it. Off the wall craziness.
Yeah, that's a great one. I remember with the very first show, the first Hudson Horror show we did at the Alamo Draft House in Yonkers, New York. We did a double feature of Tourist Trap and the first Tombs of the Blind Dead movie. And it had been a while since I saw Tourist Trap. And, you know, when you're picking these movies, unless you go watch them first, you know, you're always like, I hope it goes over well with the audience. But man, Tourist Trap still totally holds up.
And you know what's great about Tourist Trap? It's one of those movies that doesn't need to be overly bloody or anything.
Yeah.
And it's not, but it's just so damn weird and so creepy. The ambiance is just absolutely perfect. And it's got Tanya Roberts, you know. So.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I can never remember if it's PG or if it's R. I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't think it was R.
I didn't think so either.
But it comes across like an R.
But it's like the creepiest PG movie ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I always have.
Yeah.
Really good. All right, Rich, back to you.
All right. Going with a killer that ruins holidays. Another one of them. My Bloody Valentine. Yeah, he's got a cool design too.
Yeah.
Good old Axel Palmer, right?
What's that?
Good old Axel Palmer.
Yeah. I like the way he goes about leaving the little messages inside the, you know, the candy box or the bloody heart. So you know you're going to be dying soon. Yeah, cool. He's got the pickaxe in his hand and costume's cool. Always like this one. Always a classic. You know, pretty menacing image too, I think. Which is another one. Did that come out as a figure too? Because I don't have that one.
Yes.
It didn't come out as Movie Maniacs though. It was something else, right?
Yeah, no, it's in my top 10. This is the Migos style My Bloody Valentine figure.
I need to get an 8-inch one so it fits in with the other set.
Right. Yeah, this is 8-inch, but it's the 8-inch cloth.
Yeah.
So it would not work with
But if I could find something, I would definitely throw him and the Driller Killer in that diorama.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Rich, that diorama, like how big is it, like length and width?
It's about a foot by a foot.
Okay, so that's
maybe a little more, maybe 14 inches.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Not huge. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's tall though, as you can see. I had to stand on something in order to take the top off of it. So
yep. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, what do you got? Number 8.
My next one is the Donald Duck Killer from New York Ripper. Any guy that goes around and talks like a duck and quacks like a duck, but just eviscerates women left and right. It's a brutal movie, brutal kills. I just, you know,
haven't seen it in a long time. I got to watch it again.
Yeah,
it holds up. It is rough.
I bought that 4K and I haven't watched it yet.
It looks good. It's never looked this good before.
I can imagine, because the original DVD I had didn't look great.
Yeah, it does look. It looks really, really good.
It's amazing how spoiled we've gotten on a lot of this stuff now. I think I say that all the time. It's like, oh yeah, that original DVD I had didn't look great, but man, we weren't complaining about it 20 years ago, right?
Pete, you are so right. I mean, you know, Rich mentioned Schiller Theater. You know, me and my buddy Glenn still talk about 20, 25 years ago, going to Chiller Theater and buying blurry bootleg VHS tapes.
And we were okay with it.
And we were okay with it because we were just looking for these obscure horror movies that hadn't gotten released yet over here, or alternate cuts or whatever. And, buying a bootleg VHS tape of The Gates of Hell just to get it in widescreen for $20-25. And now for the same amount of money, you're getting these movies in 4K. It's nuts. But people are still complaining.
Yeah, of course. And we'll keep buying no matter how many times they re-release.
Yeah, no doubt.
The curse.
Yeah, it is definitely a curse.
All right. So number 8, wasn't 8, right?
Yep.
Yeah, number 8 for me, believe it or not, until yesterday, I had never seen this film or its sequel. I'm going to go with Matt Cordell, otherwise known as the Maniac Cop.
Oh.
I don't know what I was waiting for all these years. I just can't believe I never saw this.
It is a classic. I'm glad you.
I gotta say though, the makeup though, when you see his face, is pretty bad.
Well, I always thought it was supposed to look like
the first one. I mean, the second one I haven't rewatched it again. But when I rewatched the first one, I was like, wow, that's not so good with some of that makeup they put on.
I think the makeup on the second film is even worse because it's just like a mask on the second.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Robert Zadar, his face is so weird and fucked up and mutated.
He's got
like
chin, right? Yeah.
Is he the only actor in Hollywood who was actually probably creepier under all the makeup?
Yeah, I was reading up on. He's got some kind of a bone thing or something. That's why he was so big.
Yeah.
But like when I was watching it, the scars just look. I don't know. They're just bad scars. I don't know if they didn't have the budget or what, but.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He was so good in the role. I mean, it's just he's like this Jason Voorhees as a cop, and no matter what you do, you can shoot him a million times. He's not going to die. He falls off the bridges. I mean, nothing happens to him. But it's funny if you follow the career of that actor
Robert Zadar,
because he was in a ton of movies. If you go and watch some of the early films he's in, his affliction was not as bad. So if you watch a lot of his movies throughout his career before he passed away, that gets worse and worse over time. Towards the end, I mean, that thing is like out to here, right? It's massive.
100%. I mean, I remember seeing him at a convention years ago, and he had really old, nice 8x10s of him, and I remember going, "Wow, he was almost like not to get weird, but he's almost like a handsome looking man." And then whatever happened to him made him like really strange looking, and God rest his soul, he's not with us anymore.
Yeah.
So that's my number 8. Great character.
Yeah, for sure.
And you guys said the third one's horrible, right? It's the first two you want to watch?
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah, I never saw the third one. The second one is quite good. The second one is just as much like a crazy action film as it is kind of horror.
I would say that I think the second one's better than the first one, but that's it. It's more like an action movie than just a horror slasher movie.
Yeah. First one's really good too.
First one's great.
It's
first one's cool.
Less budget,
And the two of them really are, go hand in hand. But that third one, Rich, I hadn't seen it for years because everybody just said it sucked. So when they all came out on Blu-ray, being the collector, I'm like, all right, I'll buy all 3. And then when I finally watched the third, I'm like, oh God, everybody was right. This movie's fucking awful. I mean, it's so bad. William Lustig, who directed 1 and 2, had his name taken off the third one.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's something. I didn't know that Lustig was the nephew of Jake LaMotta.
Yes. Crazy, right?
Yeah. But, you watch his interviews and you're like, I can kind of see that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. What's interesting, too, and I won't say too much because Rich hasn't seen it yet. Maybe some of our viewers haven't, but Chris, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, is you bring back the 2 main characters for the second film.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but, it is what it is.
I was like, oh man. So anyway, back to you, Rich.
All right. Ruining another holiday.
Yes.
Night, Dead Midnight, and the Killer Santa Claus.
Yeah. Classic.
Who's pretty normal guy, but he's got a crazy past, and that's why he's so fucked up. But cool design. He's in a traditional Santa suit, but total nut job, and I always love the artwork too, with just the hand and the suit, going into the chimney.
All you needed.
Oh.
That's all you needed, right? Yeah, just that image. Yeah, so it's good. It's got a couple good kills in this one too, as well. Like the deer antlers, right?
Linnea Quigley, yep.
That one. So yeah, and they made a couple sequels too. There's like 3 or 4.
I think there's 3 sequels.
Yeah, 3 sequels to 4 movies altogether.
I think Mickey Rooney, I think, is in like part 4 or part 5. I never saw past the second one.
Yeah, I saw the first 2. So yeah, here's the original poster. So awesome.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. One of my all-time favorites.
Yep, absolutely. My next one is Cropsy from The Burning, one of the legendary urban legends, and which I guess technically then there's 2 I have that are based on real stories, because Cropsy was the New Jersey legend about a burnt up guy killing kids in the woods. But yeah, with makeup effects by Tom Savini, it's just a great great slasher movie. And kids are just terrorized. And man, that raft scene could be one of the best scenes in the history of slasher film. Could be the best scene in the history of slasher movies, because it's like in the middle of the movie and you're like, nah, this isn't gonna, and then you're like, oh shit.
Uses the hedge clippers.
Yeah.
What's really cool about this is that there are so many great ones to choose from. That like already I've seen a couple that I'm like, shit, I can't believe I forgot that one. But the fact that it's getting covered by one of you 2 guys is just great, because I think we're going to cover a lot of the ones that need to be mentioned here. So that's a great choice.
Aside from the major ones.
I had a big list. I mean, I had the Silent Night, Deadly Night, and I cut that out. I cut out Phantasm. So yeah, I mean, I cut out most of the big ones.
What was the story? I remember we discussed it in a previous episode. What came first? Friday the 13th, when they filmed it, not when it was released. But wasn't there a thing between Friday the 13th and The Burning, because it was similar? It was a camp story. But
I mean, The Burning was definitely after Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th was released in 1980, and The Burning was released in 1981.
Yeah.
But something with the filming, right? Like supposedly one was filmed before the other.
There was another.
Just happened that way.
I'm getting old, Rich, but there was another movie. The thing with The Burning was there was another movie called Don't Go in the House, which I love. And that movie, they go around and the killer sets people on fire. So that movie was also going to be titled, if I remember right, it was also going to be titled The Burning. Okay. And that's why there are movie posters of this out there with the title Cropsy. And then I think it got switched to the Burning. But Don't Go in the House did make it to theaters first, and the producer, the director, famously gave an interview on the Blu-ray that he went into New York City on opening day, and he went to the movie theater and he saw lines of teenagers around the block, and he was so excited until he got to the steps of the movie theater, because opening the same day as Don't Go in the House was the original Friday the 13th. And all the kids were going to see Friday the 13th, and nobody saw Don't Go in the House. And that's why that kind of fell into, obscurity.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Cool story.
Good story. Yeah.
But yeah, The Burning, I'm 99% sure this was 1981. This is from the Weinstein brothers. Yep, 1981. And yeah, there's the 2 different versions of this. And we were lucky to run when we ran it at Hudson Horror, we were very lucky to run the British 35 millimeter film print, because that is the uncut version, which has all the extra gore in the raft scene.
Which is what's on the Blu-ray. I mean,
which is what's on the Blu-ray. Yeah, but that stuff was trimmed for the U.S. theatrical cut. So if you were to see it off film, it would be trimmed down. Unless they ran one of the European prints. It's
a pretty brutal film. I think it's more brutal than the first Friday the 13th film.
Oh, yeah. I would agree.
Stars that like before they were anybody.
Yeah. Jason Alexander,
Holly Hunter,
and Holly Hunter.
Yeah. Holly Hunter, yeah. But Friday the 13th, I think
which had Kevin Bacon.
I was going to say his kill is probably the most legendary out of the two of them at that time period. Because if you watch it now, you really can't even tell how they did it. It's so well done.
Yeah.
Except it was done before on a Mario Bava film. Bay of Blood, right?
But if you watch the Friday the 13th uncut version, they show a little bit too much, and then you can see that it's fake. So if you watch it, the regular version, it actually works better. But the longer extended shot of that, then you can see it's, fake.
But ultimately, I mean, Kevin Bacon's made a lot of movies. We know it's fake.
Yeah.
But
when you watch it and you can't tell that it's fake, then it works great. That's when you want it to work,
Well, you know what it is too, and I think we've talked about this before. It's like now, and it goes back to our conversation earlier. It's like now that we have all these great looking Blu-rays and 4K discs, and if you have a high def TV, 4K TV and Blu-ray player and all that kind of stuff, you can see everything on these films now. And it's like now all of a sudden you can see, like I think I was talking about, God, what movie was it? It was the Pieces of Blu-ray that I was watching. There's a scene, the scene on the waterbed.
Yes.
Where the woman gets stabbed to death. You can see the knife is rubber, and you can see where it hits the girl. It folds in this way. It bends. I'm like, oh man. You would have never seen that before or noticed it before.
Totally. I mean, the one that really blew my mind, and it's not even on Blu-ray that I know of. But I have the DVD box sets of the Munsters, and when I got that and I first watched it on a 60-inch HD set, I was like, on the close-ups, I'm like, oh my God, you could see the brushstrokes on the makeup. But that's because everybody was watching the Munsters on an 18-inch or 22-inch black and white set, and now it's it's a different world.
Yeah, there's so many examples of that. It's, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, where the girl jumps off her balcony and lands in her front yard.
Yes,
I mean, literally, she jumps out, and then you see her bounce. You see her bounce off the little pillow trampoline that's on the ground. I'm like, really? You never noticed that on the older versions of that, whatever.
It's true.
So, all right, my next one. What are we at? Number 7. I'm gonna go with the Prowler.
Nice,
great film. Cool. Demented, GI guy dressed in. He wears all the army outfits and all that kind of stuff. The helmet, and it's 30 years after the war, and he's out for revenge on the anniversary of the prom, right, or the big school dance or something like that, where he got stood up by, or what was the whole deal? He went off to the army.
Yes.
Girlfriend said she was going to wait for him, and she did not, obviously, and he finds out about it. So now he's coming back to kill everybody on the 30th anniversary. I think it's a great film, great kills, and this is Tom Savini on this one, correct?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was going to say Savini always felt that was of his entire career, unless I'm mistaken, he always felt that was his best special effects.
Great kills in this.
Great. I mean, the girl in the shower.
And, the shower one, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And this is a Joseph Zito direction here.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that movie. Big fan. Back to Rich.
All right. Going with a classic. Got to throw in a couple of classics. So going with Friday the 13th. But I chose part 4 just because I like it when you get to see his face in this one. It's really, really, we really get to see him in this. The ending when he gets the machete in the head. So, it's after this where it gets ridiculous, but 1 through 4, it's a classic Boogeyman. I would take it.
Still one of the best, if not.
Yeah. And those first 4 movies, before it gets silly and he gets.
And that was the same team that did the Prowler, same director and same makeup man. Yep. And if I know that when Pete and I did the rankings of the Friday the 13th movies, that was my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because after that, even though Kane Hodder is great as Jason, the movies got silly and ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's melted down in Manhattan, turns into a little boy, and then he's shot into space, and he's, Terminator Jason. It gets fucking ridiculous.
Defies all logic, right?
Yeah, it's absurd. But give me the first 4. That's Jason I love.
Yeah. All right, Chris.
All right. This one is probably about as obscure as they come, but I really enjoy this movie. So much so that I bought it twice, although buying it twice by accident was an accident. The killer is played by Jake Steinfeld, who was famous for Body by Jake. I don't know if you guys remember that fitness guy, the fitness guru.
Yeah.
He starred in the slasher movie called Home Sweet Home.
Oh wow!
Which
I've been trying to get a good version of that, a good print of that.
Well,
too.
I have two versions right here, Rich, from two different bootleggers. Because I bought one, and then I guess I was at another convention, and I was like, "Oh, Home Sweet Home! I've been meaning to see that for years." So then I bought it again, and then when I went to put it on the shelf, I'm like, "Oh crap! I already have this." But this movie is a ton of fun. Body by Jake is basically he terrorizes a family on Thanksgiving, and it's one of the few horror movies that takes place during Thanksgiving. And
speaking of, we need a really good Thanksgiving horror movie. There's none out there.
Home Sweet Home is one of the only ones. There's not many, but the movie it's completely ridiculous, but it totally works, and it's a lot of fun. And because he was a big hulking kind of guy, it works. It works him as a slasher, boogeyman, whatever you want to call it. It's definitely worth checking out.
It's funny. You just mentioned the title, and it didn't ring a bell, but I do remember that coming out because I do remember that was like the only movie he did, right?
Yeah, well, he did a couple movies, but this was one of the first ones. Yeah, it says 1981, and I remember the yellow cover for some reason. Maybe this is the VHS cover. Maybe this was the movie poster. I don't know, but it is worth if you like slashers, and there's a couple of really pretty girls in it. And it's so ridiculous. I watched it by myself and laughed out loud quite a a few times.
And what does the killer look like? I don't remember his character.
Oh, it's Body by Jake. So it's him in like a sweatshirt.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's him in a sweatshirt, and he, I think he probably has on tennis shoes and maybe a weight belt.
He's as plain as a driller killer then.
Oh yeah, no, he's just a normal big crazy guy. But that's it.
You got that smile because he's all the Body by Jake stuff. He's always smiling with it.
He didn't do the smiling thing too much, but the movie is just loaded with ridiculous things without giving anything away. But yeah, worth checking out for sure.
So I guess it hasn't been properly released on Blu-ray or anything, huh?
No, it wasn't even on DVD. I mean, these are bootlegs.
Wow.
So there's no DVD, no Blu-ray, no 4K, no nothing. I don't know if it's on YouTube. A lot of stuff that falls out of print and winds up there, but it's
a lot of lesser known ones you can find on YouTube,
but worth seeking out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, my number 6 is the Turkey Man from Blood Freak. Just kidding.
We talked about that not too long ago.
Just kidding. No, I'm gonna go with them.
That's funny.
That's probably one of the worst, but no, I'm gonna go with I had to do Pinhead from the Hellraiser movies. He's one of the coolest looking boogeymen around. Yeah. He's I don't know. And again, he's not he doesn't do a lot of the killing, but he's behind a lot of the crazy stuff that goes on in these films, and I think he's like one of the neatest looking boogeymen, monsters, killers, whatever the hell you want to call them. So that is my choice for number 6.
All right. Top 5, right?
Yep.
Going with Pennywise the Clown.
Another one that was just outside my list.
It's one I completely forgot about. Yeah,
I had to put him in there. He's such a classic image, just by itself. But it's a cool story.
I really like the newer Pennywise too, quite a bit.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
This was a great made-for-TV movie as well.
I agree. Yeah.
They did a good job with this. But I always liked him. He's a little different than everybody else too, because he's the guy that plays on your fears.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Freddy, but better.
Yeah. I think the newer Pennywise is a little more frightening because they definitely play up the violent streak in him more than Tim Curry.
Yeah, he looks he looked great even back then. That was sure. Scary,
Yep. Cool. Good choice. Very good choice.
Excellent.
Thanks.
My next boogeyman is Dr. Freudstein from The House by the Cemetery. He terrorizes a family led by Catcher McCall, who starred in some of the best Lucio Fulci movies. But he just kind of lives in the basement and just terrorizes the whole family for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's a classic.
Cool design too.
Great design, gory. Yeah, I love it.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Very cool poster too.
So many. All right, my number 5, Axel Palmer, the Killer Miner from My Bloody Valentine. You already mentioned him. He's great. Next.
Nice.
All right. Going with chainsaws and the Chainsaw Massacre. Always love this. This is such a raw and brutal movie too.
Love
like
it.
you could just feel the heat on the set when they were just out there filming this thing. You know?
What's great about that too is his whole family are so fucking out there. I mean, it's everyone. I mean, the younger brother who hitches a ride with them, he is like one of the most demented guys ever.
Yeah.
Father, and you got the grandpa. Yep. I mean, it's just like, what of this stuff, man? It's like
that scene when he puts her on the meat hook.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. It's not like throughout the whole movie that there's brutality, but when they do it, it's rough. Like you could feel it. It feels like it's like a real, almost like this could be happening, somebody doing it from their own camera.
Well, I mean, that's the beauty of that film. I remember the first time I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre was probably like we had just gotten cable at my house when I was growing up. So it was on like HBO or Cinemax, like late at night. And I stumbled upon it and I watched it. And I couldn't have been more than 12 or 13. So we're looking at like 78 or 79. And that's exactly how it felt. It almost felt like a documentary. Yeah. We were watching like some real life.
Especially the beginning with the clicking of the camera. Is that the sound I'm thinking of, right?
Yeah.
You're seeing all the images out in the desert there in the heat.
Yep. Yeah. And the first scene where you see Leatherface, right? And he like slams the door shut. I mean, it's just like, what in the world? Yeah. And it's funny because Chris and I had a conversation a while back and you may want to tell the story, Chris, about how you never liked the original and loved the second way more, and how
really.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say I have the complete opposite of Pete. I had always read about Texas Chainsaw and Fango. I was a huge horror movie fan. Got Fango. Went to the horror movies in the theater whenever I could, watching shit at home. And when I finally saw the first one, it was right when we first got our VCR in like 1982 or 83. So I was like 11 or 12, and I was completely disappointed because there's no gore. It's not bloody, and by, 1982, I was, in slasher heaven, and I wanted the blood and the guts, especially getting into the European stuff. And there was, for all intents and purposes, Texas Chainsaw 1 is fairly bloodless. So when part 2 came out, I loved it because it's got the makeup effects by Savini and it's so gory. But as I got older and I kept rewatching the series, now I fucking hate Chainsaw 2 because it's got this stupid humor and it's just corny. But now I'm like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1 is a fucking masterpiece because it looks, like you guys said, it looks so real, and it's almost done like a documentary, and it's just so fucking creepy. And I shit all over the second one, and the rest of the series is garbage too.
The whole table scene when the girl's strapped down and they're just trying to hit her with the hammer, and so she's screaming and they're yelling and she's screaming and it just keeps going and going. It's crazy. It's like very intense.
And I always say too, if you look at it from a different point of view, Leatherface is the hero. These kids came onto his property. These kids broke into his fucking house.
True.
And let's forget, it's Texas. You got every right to kill somebody if they're coming into your house in Texas.
You just can't be a cannibal about it.
Unless that's,
Yeah. That's the line they got to.
You got to eat. What's the rule? You got to eat whatever you kill. So, but yeah, classic for sure.
And that came out what, 74, right?
74, yeah.
So what was out in 74 that was just,
Uh,
high end and intense and
I was going to
crazy
say,
like
I
that?
mean, probably the only thing that really preceded it that was as groundbreaking would be Night of the Living Dead in
Night of the Living Dead?
1968.
Yeah.
And you had Argento who was putting out some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Bird with the Crystal Plumage was
The
right around
Exorcist?
there.
What was The Exorcist?
75.
75. So
actually,
yeah, it was right after.
Actually, I think Exorcist, was December of 73.
Oh, was it 73?
I could be
really?
wrong.
No,
I
you
thought
might
it was
be right.
I thought it was
It's right around that
December
time period,
26th,
though.
1973.
It's right around there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
there
that's
wasn't much
another.
out. There wasn't much out that was brutal like that.
No. It was definitely groundbreaking. I mean, beat Halloween by 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Cool. All right, Chris, what do you got for number?
All right, I wanted to show my limited edition Mego figure of this, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the box, so I'll just show the 4K of Maniac.
Another one of my favorite posters too.
Great poster, unbelievable role. Frank Zito as portrayed by Joe Spinell, which is such a fucking terrifying movie. I mean, holy shit! New York City is so slimy and grim, and it's just a crazy movie. From William Lustig. Caroline Munro is drop dead gorgeous in it. But it's still a makeup effects by Tom Savini. Such a brutal movie. It's a classic.
Yeah, that's one of my honorable mentions. He was originally in my list, and then I pushed him out for The Tall Man. But I love that film, and it's so funny, Chris. If you want to hold that Blu-ray,
this is the newest 4K version. I couldn't even tell you how many times I bought this on DVD, Laserdisc, Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So there's an interview on there with Joe, and he talks about how much he was puzzled by the movie poster, because if you look at it really quickly, it's a guy with nice thin legs and a tight pair of jeans,
right. And the bulge in the pants,
and the big bulge in the front of the pants. And Joe's like, "Yeah, that definitely was not me." All right, my number 4 is Leatherface. Steelbook edition right here. I absolutely love this movie, and I totally dig the character. Even though, if you watch throughout the history of this franchise, there are times where Leatherface is somewhat of a sympathetic character.
Yeah,
he's basically pretty stupid. He's just being told what to do by his family for the most part, but he's so intimidating looking. He can be quite brutal. And is there any better weapon for a murderer than a chainsaw? I don't know. So that's my number 4.
All right. 3, Chucky.
Oh,
nice.
Always loved Chucky, even though a couple of the sequels got really silly, which I don't like. But the first 2 I think are solid, especially the original. It's great. Yeah. Your doll comes to life and it's going to kill you and your family. That's awesome. And at the time, when did this come out? 87, 86, somewhere around there?
I think it's I want to say September 1988.
88? Okay. So did we have a killer, doll around at that point in the 80s?
I mean, there was a few before then. There was, Devil Doll, the Zuni Fetish Doll from Trilogy of Terror.
Okay.
There was a handful.
Magic with Anthony Hopkins and Aunt Margaret.
Yep.
Oh, Magic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so there's a couple.
Yeah, but nothing as good as Chucky.
Yeah.
Chucky was pretty demented.
Yeah, I love it when you finally see him talk. When I think his head turns around, or he looks at her, and he yells at the girl, the mother, I think it is, right?
Yeah.
And she's shaking the doll, and she's trying to get it out of him that he's really alive. And then he comes to life, and he calls her a bitch or something like that. Yeah. And then he falls to the ground, he rolls away. That is a great scene.
Yeah, there's a lot of good scenes in that one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I still say I haven't seen it for years, but I would love to see it. And one of my ultimate dream crossovers would be Chucky versus Leprechaun, and throw in some of the puppets from Puppet Master.
Oh, for sure.
The battle of the little monsters, right?
Puppet Master one, Blade. He was always my favorite. He was really.
I like the Puppet Master films. They
Leprechaun
also get a little wacky towards the end. But
Leprechaun.
Although the newest Puppet Master, I really enjoyed.
Really, I haven't seen it.
Came out like 2 years ago. I think it's just called The Puppet Master. I was shocked at how much I liked it.
Really?
Shocked.
Still puppets?
Oh yeah.
Or CGI?
No, it's puppets, and there's I can't remember all the cast members, but like Barbara Crampton was in it. There's a ton. It's almost like they made a Puppet Master movie at Schiller Theater, because there's all these people, all the horror movie celebrities that would normally be in Schiller. They'll have these cameos in the newest Puppet Master.
That's pretty cool.
Find it. Yeah,
it's worth. I mean, I got the 4K disc off Amazon for like $8. So it's worth a blind buy.
I bought a little box set. It's got like a couple of them in it, or a bunch of them in it.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them.
It's still Blue Moon. Blue Moon was the company, right?
Full Moon. Blue Moon's the beer.
Yeah, is it Full Moon still?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, worth checking out.
All right. Who goes?
I don't even know.
You go, Chris. I was like,
okay. All right. I'm ready. I couldn't go in the attic to get my action figure, so I'll just hold my hand up. Betsy Palmer as Pamela Voorhees in the original Friday the 13th. Everybody talks about Jason, but if Betsy Palmer wasn't such a crazy psycho stalker and killer in the first movie, we would not have had that whole franchise. So yeah,
that is true.
True. Good choice.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's a deep cut there.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah,
you gotta represent the ladies.
Yeah, not a lot of those, right?
No, not many. No.
There isn't actually. If you think about it, who is there?
Well,
there's Angela from Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah, that's one.
Angela, right? All right. Urban Legends. Remember Urban Legends? That was a killer.
Technically, April Fool's Day.
Yeah. The
happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to me. Is it Celia Ward from Night School?
That one.
The little old Italian lady from Alice, Sweet Alice.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Because that almost made my list.
That's another deep.
Because that movie creeps me the fuck out.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. The mother from Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. All right, so there's a handful.
Yeah, there's some. We could probably find more if we really thought.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, none of them rose to an icon status. I don't think.
No, you're correct. Yeah, you're correct. So my number 3 is one of the few Boogeyman that you almost don't even ever see. The crazy attic killer from Black Christmas.
Yeah.
I knew that one was coming. Hey, was it Billy? Hey, Billy.
It's me, Billy.
Yeah. When he's in the chair, he does this.
So good.
He's rocking back and forth. He's throwing shit all over the place. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, he's just the guy who did the voices is just so good. Yeah. And I think it's almost better that you really didn't see him. Other than there's that one little scene where you see like half of his face, right? When he's chasing Olivia, the hussy, around the house, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say that, Pete. And they're a perfect example, right? Black Christmas, the original, is perfect as it is. They remade it in 2016, and half the movie is fucking explaining why Billy's a killer and there's a twin and this. Who cares? It worked fine in the original. We didn't know.
Yeah. It's unwatchable.
Yeah.
You know what's even worse? Did you ever see When a Stranger Calls remake?
I don't think so.
That's even worse.
Because the original When a Stranger Calls is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, they did a remake and it's god awful.
Wow.
Here's the weird thing about
this. I didn't even know they did that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna look it up and see what year that came out.
And there's a third version of Black Christmas. Have you guys seen that? I heard it was terrible.
No, I heard it was even worse than the second one.
That's what I heard.
That went to theaters too. I think they had the nerve to release that to theaters, right?
They did.
I mean, my point is like, all right, so if you do a remake of a classic and that remake doesn't really do too well, why would you then do another remake like 2-3 years after that?
Yeah,
right.
It's true.
Does that make any sense?
2006 it came out, When a Stranger Calls.
Wow. And
yeah.
Was there any big names in it? I don't remember.
Let's see. Camille Bell, Brian Gerardy, Katie Cassidy, and Clark Gregg. I don't know any of these names.
Katie Cassidy was from the Arrow TV show.
Yeah, I was gonna say Katie Cassidy is from the Arrow show, and that.
Oh yeah, she was
White Canary, Black Canary.
Canary, yeah, exactly. Yep. The other ones I don't know these people from anywhere else.
Interesting.
So yeah, it was not good.
Okay.
Not good at all.
What I was going to say about this film, it's like, they perfectly set it up at the end where they could have done a sequel to this.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm really,
it's
better that they did, but
yeah. I think it's really a testament to the fact that, sequels were not sequels like in the 60s and 70s. It really wasn't until the 80s where sequels were sequels.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The two movies, the two remakes were 2006 and 2019.
Wow, 2019. Yeah, I still haven't seen that one.
I don't think you're missing.
I'm not gonna bother.
No, everybody says
to me, this is perfection. This is one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
Yeah.
We don't need a sequel.
True.
Or, not a sequel. We don't need a remake.
We've
already gotten two. It's like,
but as is.
No interest yet. And it's like, even though, well, I'll get to that in a second, but even though Mr. Zombie did a remake of one of the all-time classics, we didn't really need that either.
No. And the only thing worse than his first one was Rob Zombie's second one.
Oh, that's awful.
Terrible, yeah.
The horse and oh my God.
So bad. His wife.
Just everything. It's all over the place. It's a mess.
All right, Rich, you're number 2.
All right, going with the puzzle box and Pinhead.
Nice.
He was always one of my favorites. Very frightening. I think what's even scarier about him too is his philosophies. You notice how when he talks, he's very graceful and, tries to be intellectual about heaven and hell and, his purpose in life and why they're there and, the pleasures of the flesh and things like that. That's why they're there to get you. It's cool. And I like the puzzle box too. It opens it up and brings them into the world, into reality.
And that voice he's got, the voice is the best, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He's the most if you could say it, the classiest boogeyman, right?
Well, he's British too, so that automatically makes him sound smart.
Yeah, the way he speaks, he's got a grace about him, even though he's a fucking demon. So yeah, this is a classic.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, my number 2, Pete mentioned already. Mac, this is I got this limited edition Mego figure, but I was like, oh shit, it's all wrapped up. I'm not unwrapping it. But Matt Cordell from the Maniac Cop movies, as portrayed by the late great Robert Zadar.
All right, my top 2 are going to be fairly predictable, but they're icons for a reason. Michael Myers from Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Here he is, right there. Him with his what do you call it? James Kirk.
I was going to say the William Shatner mask.
William Shatner mask. Again, he doesn't utter a sound. Although, don't we get an oof out of him once or twice? When he
maybe.
Yeah,
I think that's in part 2 or oh no, I think in part 1 when he gets the clothes hanger in the eye, I think.
Yeah, he does. He utters a little sound, but other than that, you never hear a peep out of him. He's just there and ready to stab you with something, right? Or whatever.
Hiding in the shadows.
Yeah, he pops up always, no matter where you least expect him. There he is, and they've made how many movies now?
Oh, I couldn't even tell you. More, yeah, too many.
Too many. Most of them are a good chunk of them are not
8 or 9, and then there's 2 remakes, and then 40 years later, and then you got Halloween Kills that comes out this year, which happens for the following year after the 40-year one.
Too many, but he's still great. So
yeah,
that's my number 2.
Well, he's my number 1. He was always my favorite. Scared the shit out of me when I first saw it on cable, right? HBO.
Yes.
When that was played on HBO, I never saw it in the movie, so
yep.
I saw it was on HBO, and I really couldn't see the whole movie because my parents wouldn't let me watch scary movies. Really, they would always either blocked it or they didn't have the channel. But I remember
your parents were rough, Rich. No heavy metal concerts, no horror movies.
Yeah,
man, Rich had it tough as a kid.
But I got to see it when I went to go to my cousin's house because they had HBO.
Nice.
So we would sneak the horror movies, and just seeing him hiding in the darkness, and he doesn't say anything, and then he shows up out of nowhere and he can get you, and just the cinematography and the way they light him and everything, it's very scary. It's somebody that you could really see, you open up your window in the middle of the night, you could see somebody standing out there in the darkness like that, with just that, plain, empty, expressionless face and a mask.
Or he's standing on the street corner like a statue, right? Cars are driving by and there he is, and then all of a sudden when you look back and he's gone, it's
yeah. And he's the one too that the movies didn't get ridiculous like Jason, Freddy.
Well, they
Chucky.
did, but it took a couple of them.
Yeah.
It took a couple, but didn't get too bad. Like even what was it? Not H2O, the one before that or after it.
Oh, I think it got ridiculous with 5 and 6.
Wasn't too bad though. At least they weren't like chopping them up in pieces and turning.
Dude,
them
6
into
is
bombs.
fucking really bad. And
Yeah.
5 is just a remake of 4 because there was no script. They didn't know
five
what they
was
were
when
doing.
he's got that telekinetic connection with his niece or something, right? That was his niece, yeah. So I mean, it didn't go too crazy, but like I'm saying, like Freddy, Jason, Chucky, it really got silly. I think Michael's the one that mostly stuck to being pretty serious, I think, throughout all the sequels. Aside from, the one I'm thinking of is Resurrection. That is awful.
Is that with the rapper?
Yes, with Busta Rhymes, and they had the
Right.
cameras that were in the house, and they were doing the virtual thing. That was awful.
Bad.
But it got ridiculous there. But other than that, pretty respectable, I think, what they did.
All right.
You're number one, Chris.
I saw this in the drive-in in 1981, and I fell in love with this movie. The Miner, aka Harry Warden from My Bloody Valentine. It's a classic. It's got a great costume. I remember I saw it as a triple feature in June of '81. It was Friday the 13th Part 2, My Bloody Valentine, and the sci-fi movie The Final Countdown. And yeah, my favorite of the 3 was My Bloody Valentine.
Great killer.
Yeah.
Is that the only one that all three of us have had in our list so far?
I think so.
You think so?
So
Yeah. Good variety.
yes, indeed. Well,
You guys got to see that one with Body by Jake.
yeah.
Yeah, that one. And it's another one I'm trying to find too. I had a horrible print of it though, and I'm trying to get rid of it so I can get a decent one. But Funeral Home, do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, sure. I got a crappy bootleg DVD of that too.
That's another,
That's a good one.
obscure one I'm trying to get. It's hard to get a decent version of it.
Yeah.
Jason Voorhees, my number one.
Nice. Can't go wrong with that.
He's the prototypical kind of face of this whole thing we're talking about, I think, here.
Yeah.
Indestructible. He's going to get you no matter what. And if you think you killed him, think again, right? So, no matter how many ridiculous movies we have in that franchise, Jason is still, in my book, the number one boogeyman out there. But
It's interesting. None of us picked him. I wonder why. Why didn't we pick him?
he's in my honorable mentions, but I don't know. There's other than like the first film is really great for what it is.
Yeah. I agree.
Second's decent. Third one's okay. It went really downhill after this.
After the third one, for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
But I don't know. He's a cool character. I just I don't think you know what the problem is, Rich? I think there was something about the way that Michael Myers, was portrayed throughout all those movies. Same thing.
Right.
They kept very true to their characters, despite the fact that some of those films are not very good. And I think they kind of monkeyed around with Freddy a bit throughout the latter part of the franchise.
Well, he was like, by the later movies, he was just doing tons of one-liners, and it was oversaturation. They had Freddy Krueger squirt guns and Halloween costumes, and it
took all the fear out of him.
He became a pop culture icon. You guys remember in the 80s, the movies were huge blockbusters, and at the same time there was a Freddy Krueger TV show.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Yeah, no need for it.
They watered them down.
Mentions
the little old Italian lady from Alice, Sweet Alice, and the college dean from Pieces. Those were my 2 honorable mentions.
Cool.
Rich, how about you?
I went with Norman Bates.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
Which one of the few times that a sequel is as good as the original, I think.
Yeah, I love the second one.
Psycho 2 is really good.
Really good.
Yeah. Got a little bit of blood in it too.
Oh, yeah.
But he's definitely a boogeyman. Not your traditional boogeyman, but he's definitely a boogeyman.
Yeah.
You know, a normal guy in disguise. You know, the wolf in sheep's clothing, right? And then another one. This might be my left field choice. I'm going with Dracula as a boogeyman.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like on the fence about picking any vampire character.
Right.
Those, I mean, that's the best one, obviously.
He's the original, you know, boogeyman that you learn about when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Before
True.
all these other guys, right?
Yep. True.
So yeah, I had to throw in him as an honorable mention, definitely.
Good choices. I'm trying to think. All right, so what do I have on mine that hasn't? All right, so I had Frank Zito from Maniac.
Yeah, I had that one.
Hannibal Lecter I had on my honorable mentions.
Okay.
Madman Mars from Mad Men.
Oh, from Mad Men. That's a classic.
Yep. The Mutant from Funhouse I had on mine. Candyman. How about
Candyman's another one.
The Freak from Castle Freak. The Basket Case Brother.
That's a good one. That's another good one.
Freddy Krueger, Russ Thorne, the Power Drill.
Fuck, I can't remember what the hell's his name. I can't remember his name.
Who's that?
What's that? Me?
The brother in Basket Case?
Yeah.
Who? Me? What I have?
No, Chris was asking what the name of the brother was in Basket Case. Yeah, what was his name? He did have a name. I forget.
He did, yeah.
And how about Irving Wallace, the escaped lunatic who becomes the owl killer in Stage Fright?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Another unique design too.
Yeah. So those are some of my honorable mentions that didn't quite make the cut.
And I have a modern one I got to throw in, which you guys recently saw. Art the Clown, terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you said that anthology film that he was in before that is really good, right?
Yeah, All Hallows Eve. It's his introduction.
Oh, okay.
And then the second one's coming out, I think, later this year. So I think he's probably at the top of the pile for modern.
Well, the more recent ones, yeah, he's pretty.
Yeah, you know him and the Scream character. Even though Scream could be any number of people, but that costume design, you know, as a boogeyman,
iconic. Yeah, what's his name? I forget. Scream Face or Shout Face or
Ghostface. Ghostface.
That's it.
Yeah.
So there you have it, everybody. Our favorite boogeymen. We've obviously, I'm sure, forgotten some.
Yeah.
No doubt, because there's so many good ones out there. So let us know what your 5 or 10 favorites are in the comments below. It'll be interesting to read those and see which ones we totally spaced out on for this. But there's so many good ones out there. So
I think we hit the major players, though.
Yeah, we hit the major players and a couple good, more obscure ones, which is kind of cool. But so many good ones. Yeah, we probably could easily have done 2 episodes of this, but I think we covered a lot of bases here.
Yeah.
So once again, I want to thank Chris and Rich for bringing their A games here tonight, talking about some cool killers, memorable killers from some great films. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. We have a pretty special show coming up for you next week too. So we've got Dan Brown and Jamie Laszlo joining us next week. We're going to give you our 5 favorite non-Hammer horror films. So for those of you who love Amicus and Tygon films and all the other obscure filmmakers from like the 60s and 70s from Great Britain who put out a lot of really cool films, we're going to give you our 5 favorites from all of those. So stay tuned for that. And much more coming in May. So for Chris Alo and Rich Catino, I am Pete Pardo. Good night, everybody.